All right, so we've got a new photo of Marilyn Manson. Just came out yesterday. It was posted, a series of photos that were posted by his wife, photographer Lindsay Usich, and she had taken various photos, artistic photos. And one of them was of him standing in front of a really beautiful painting of clouds. And Manson is standing there looking, I guess we could say, contemplative. But everybody in the comments, everybody was raving about how amazing he looks. So the caption to this that Lindsay, his wife, included, the caption for this photo is a quote from the French poet Charles Baudelaire. And the quote is this: "Through the unknown, we'll find the new." And that is a great quote, and kind of a message about their attitude and where they're at. And it's a message of hope and looking to the future. And I think, how I would interpret it is we don't know what's going to happen, but we know that there will be a kind of a rebirth and exciting things ahead. So I really like that. He does look great. I love the caption. It's interesting. Baudelaire is an interesting choice because he's considered to be one of the best poets ever, certainly one of the most famous French poets. And he had a life that was really crazy in a lot of ways. And in fact, he ended up dying at the age of 46 from syphilis. Combination probably of things. He was addicted to drugs and had led a rough life in a lot of ways. But this is where I think it's interesting, relevant to the Manson situation, is that Baudelaire was actually put on trial. He was prosecuted by the state for obscenity, for inciting or violating public morals, public decency, that sort of thing, right? And so he was actually put on trial for this. And the work of art, it was one of his books of poetry, considered one of the greatest works of poetry ever, Les Fleurs du Mal, Flowers of Evil. And as some Marilyn Manson fans probably are noting right off the bat, Flowers of Evil is the title of a song on Manson's Born Villain album. So all these little interesting connections that I'm sure a lot of you Manson fans knew anyway, but I thought it was really interesting when I looked this up. And so Baudelaire was put on trial for some of the poems in this book of poetry, Les Fleurs du Mal, Flowers of Evil, and he had to end up cutting 6 poems out of the final publication. But this made him famous, respected, and what have you. And so even while Baudelaire was scorned by many in the elite, and he was feared by many, at the same time, he was this really amazing genius poet and this person who throughout his entire life challenged cultural conventions and lived really on the edges. And, in the end, he ended up receiving an official apology for that verdict against him, for the censorship of some of his poems, and a full reinstatement. And so I think that's really interesting, especially given what Marilyn Manson has been going through. And as a number of us have been saying for a while, it is because of his public image, his artistic persona, the artistic persona of Marilyn Manson that Brian Warner cultivated, and that was so successful both commercially and artistically for so many years. It is because of that image that it's been so easy for the media and the false accusers in this case, in this hoax against him. It's been so easy for them to be believed. Oh, look, of course he did this. Of course he did these horrible things, because just look at him. Look at the makeup. Look at the lyrics of his songs. Look at his art. So I think it's really interesting that, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I think it's really interesting that Manson's wife, Lindsay, that she chose a poem, some lines from a poem by Baudelaire, someone who also was persecuted during his time, falsely, wrongly persecuted for his art. So anyway, all right, everybody. So I'm going to be continuing to talk about this situation, and hopefully we'll have updates in the future. And as always, subscribe. All of my links are below. Appreciate your support. And nice to see that. All right, bye.